Have you ever woken up in the morning, stared at your work messages, and thought, I can't do this anymore. I want to quit. But then, by the end of the day, you're still there, still working, still surviving, still pretending it's fine. It's almost like living two lives. One where you're constantly planning to leave, and another where you keep showing up anyway. Why does that happen? Why do so many people want to quit their jobs almost every day, but never actually do it? It's not laziness. It's not indecision. It's psychology, and it's deeply human. The truth is, wanting to quit and actually quitting come from two different parts of the brain. The emotional brain wants relief. It wants to escape from stress, pressure, and exhaustion. But the logical brain seeks safety. It wants stability, predictability, and control. So you end up stuck in between, emotionally tired, but logically afraid. Psychologists call this approach avoidance conflict. It's when one decision carries both desire and fear. You want the freedom that comes from quitting, but you also fear the uncertainty that comes after. You imagine the peace of walking away, but also the panic of losing income, status, or security. And both of those emotions can be equally strong. So every morning, your mind wakes up in battle, one side whispering, leave, you're miserable, and the other saying, stay, it's safer here. And most of the time, fear wins. But there's more. For many people, work isn't just about money. It's tied to identity. We live in a culture that often measures self-worth by productivity. So quitting doesn't just feel like leaving a job. It can feel like losing a part of yourself. People ask, what do you do? Not how are you feeling? Your role becomes your reputation. And that's why walking away can feel like erasing who you are. It's not just about bills or responsibilities. It's about how you define success, safety, and belonging. So even when your mind screams for change, your heart stays attached to colleagues, to routine, to a version of yourself that's too scared to let go. Then there's another layer, hope. Some people stay because they keep hoping things will get better. I'll quit after this project. Maybe next month it'll calm down. Maybe my boss will finally notice how much I do. Hope keeps them anchored, not because the situation is healthy, but because change is terrifying. Our brains are wired to prefer familiar pain over unknown possibility. It's called the comfort zone illusion. Even when something hurts, if it's predictable, our mind treats it as safe. The unknown, no matter how promising, triggers the fear of loss. That's why many people say, I hate my job, but I can't leave yet. They've emotionally adapted to exhaustion, but not yet to uncertainty. There's also the practical reality. Bills to pay, family to support, fear of starting over. The job might be draining, but it's also providing. And that creates an emotional contradiction that feels like being trapped. In therapy, this state is known as learned helplessness. It happens when people feel stuck for so long that they stop believing change is possible. So even if an opportunity appears, their mind immediately says, it won't work out, or it's too risky. They begin to normalize unhappiness because it feels safer than the vulnerability of trying again. But here's the other side. Not everyone who stays is weak. Some people are just being strategic. They're quietly planning, saving, building skills, or waiting for the right time. They may not have the luxury to walk away impulsively. They stay, not out of fear, but out of calculation. And that's also okay. There's strength in patience too. Leaving a job isn't just about courage, it's about timing. Sometimes staying is the brave choice when it's done consciously, not helplessly. The key difference lies in awareness. Are you staying because you're afraid, or because you're preparing? One drains you, the other empowers you. Still, it's important to be honest with yourself. If every Sunday night feels like dread, if you wake up every morning feeling empty, if your body feels heavy before you even start working, that's not laziness, that's burnout. Psychologically, burnout isn't just exhaustion, it's emotional detachment. It's when your brain protects itself by numbing your motivation. You start saying things like, I don't care anymore. Not because you don't care, but because you cared too much for too long. And if you stay in that state for too long, it starts affecting everything else: your sleep, your relationships, your health, your sense of self-worth. That's why sometimes, even if quitting isn't possible right away, something has to change. A boundary, a conversation, a break, a new plan. Even small changes remind your brain that you still have control, and that's the first step to freedom. Here's something most people don't talk about. When you're emotionally tired, the idea of quitting becomes symbolic. You might not even want to leave the job. You just want to leave the feeling. The constant pressure, the lack of appreciation, the routine that no longer inspires you. You're not running from work. You're running from emptiness. So before you quit the job, it's worth asking, what is it you really want to escape from? The job itself, or the version of yourself that you've become inside it? Sometimes, the real healing starts not with quitting, but with reconnecting to your boundaries, your creativity, your purpose. Because leaving the job doesn't automatically remove the exhaustion, it just changes its shape. But let's be real, some environments are truly toxic. If your workplace constantly disrespects you, undervalues you, or destroys your mental health, staying too long becomes self-betrayal. No salary can fix the feeling of losing yourself a little more each day. In those moments, courage means protecting your peace, even if it scares you. Because fear will always whisper, what if you fail? But peace quietly answers, what if you finally breathe? Still, this isn't about right or wrong. Some people need to stay for a while longer. Some people need to go now. There's no universal timeline for change, only the one that aligns with your reality. The most important thing is to stay awake to your truth, to stop pretending you're okay when you're not, to admit to yourself, I'm tired and something needs to change. That sentence alone can shift everything, because awareness creates movement. And movement, even small, is healing. So if you're one of those people who thinks, I want to quit every day, but I can't, know this. You're not broken. You're just human, stuck between the need for freedom and the fear of the unknown. But one day, something inside you will shift. The pain of staying will outweigh the fear of leaving. And when that moment comes, you won't need anyone to tell you. You'll just know. Until then, take care of your mind. Don't lose yourself trying to survive something that's meant to be temporary. Because even if you're not ready to quit today, you can still start building a life that doesn't drain you tomorrow. You deserve to wake up to something that feels like peace, not pressure. And that peace, even if it's still far away, begins with one brave thought. Maybe I deserve better than this. Have you ever felt this way, wanting to quit every day but never doing it? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear how you've dealt with it.